Hey everyone, and welcome to part 2 of Summer Nights at the Movies Triple Feature. So like I said at the end of the last video, these are the other 3 movies that I saw this summer. And trust me, these 3 are a little bit better than the first 3. So let's wrap up this summer movie season. First feature on our list is Minions. One of the big things that I actually do enjoy about this movie, as well as the first 2 Despicable Me movies, is the character designs. I think that they're very creative and that they're really funny to look at, to be honest. I just love how some of the characters take different shapes, and especially like in the head area, just the designs of the different characters' faces and cranial structure and everything. I love how some of these characters take different shapes and sizes, and how sometimes their heads and their faces will be disproportionate to their bodies, and it actually kind of reminds me a little bit of Spy vs. Spy. Who, if any of you guys are fans of Mad Magazine, you'll know that's the short comic strip where the 2 different spies fight each other, and it's just the design of some of these characters in this movie that kind of reminded me a little bit of Spy vs. Spy. But at the same time, all 3 of these movies actually kind of remind me of like the dark sense of humor that these characters have, you know, and just the different dark and violent sense of humor that they have. I mean, besides all that, I still enjoyed it for what it was. You know, it was this kids movie. You know, it had a lot of childish humor and all that, and it also had some adult humor as well. Not as much as the Despicable Me movies, but I feel like this one had much more of a kid feeling to it. You know, obviously because it's a kids movie and all that, just like the first 2. But at the same time, like, I feel like this movie was geared more towards kids rather than the families as a whole, and that kind of, like, you know, kind of veered me away from it. You know, I enjoyed the adult humor and all that, but there were very few of them in this movie, and it feels like it was it feels like it was much more overshadowed by, you know, just Minion humor and all that. But at the same time, it was fun, it was funny, and like I said, I just love the character designs, so I liked it for what it was. It was a fun children's comedy. What can I say? So for what it was, I'm gonna give Minions a C-. So onward to the second feature, Marvel's Ant-Man. I really enjoyed this. You know, this was a really fun comic book movie. This movie had a really good cast. It had a really good ensemble. Paul Rudd was funny, of course, you know, even though there are times where he's supposed to be taken seriously, but he was still pretty funny. And you know, Michael Douglas was really good as Hank Pym, and Evangeline Lilly as his daughter was really, really good in this. And, you know, even some of the side characters, I mean, you know, like Paul Rudd's best friend in this movie, his partner, is really funny, and he steals every single scene that he's in. And as cliched and one-dimensional as he was, I even found enjoyment in the villain in this movie. He was just so one-dimensional, and just it was fun to watch him in his villainy, pretty much. He kind of was like Vincent D'Onofrio in Jurassic World a little bit. He was just so entertainingly fun as a villain, even though he was just a single note of a villain. Because this movie is the first of a new Marvel superhero, obviously it felt like this movie had a lot of the tropes that we saw in a lot of the origin movies of the Phase 1 movies of the MCU. More specifically, like Iron Man, the first one. One of my biggest gripes with this movie, however, isn't necessarily about the movie itself, but rather the making of this. As most of you know, Edgar Wright, who had directed Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End, was supposed to be the director for this movie. He wrote it, and for a while he was the director of it, until, you know, like Age of Ultron, the studio kept pushing him to add more stuff that was sort of nonsensical to him anyway, and things that were geared more towards referencing the MCU and Phase 3. And eventually it drove him out of production. He eventually quit, and they brought on another director. I really do admire Wright. He's one of my favorite directors working today, and to hear something like that happen to him, you know, it's sad, really, and it's really disappointing. And I would love to see a director's cut, and just to see what exactly his vision was completely, instead of having all the other stuff that was added on after he left. But I mean, other than that, it was still a fun movie. It was a really, really good movie. I would even say that this was better than Avengers Age of Ultron. And I think this movie really made up for Age of Ultron. I really think so. As fun as this was, I'm giving Ant-Man a B-. This is the third and final feature on our list, Inside Out. I can't praise this movie enough, to be honest. I've been away from Pixar movies for a while, for the past couple of years. You know, mainly because some of the movies that they've been bringing out weren't really that appealing to me. But this really got me back into the Disney and Pixar movies. Everything that everyone's been saying about this is absolutely true. It's very creative, it's very imaginative, and it's a lot of fun. The animation is very, very spot on with this. I really do feel like Pixar has come a long way since Toy Story, especially when it comes to the textures of the settings and of the characters themselves, and they've really come a long way, and they've been perfecting the animation as each movie comes and goes. I felt like the character designs were very well done, and I thought that they were very imaginative, very funny, and very relatable also. You know, each character has their own distinct personality, obviously, because they represent the different elements of a person's personality. So the story is definitely filled with some of Pixar's tropes, and I feel like we've seen enough of them already to like pick up on the different tropes and everything, and we're able to like easily point them out, you know, in every direction that it takes. However, it's, you know, the story is still fun. The adventure that the characters go through is still fun, and the story itself is very funny, is very imaginative, and it's actually pretty touching when it gets close to the end. And again, these are tropes that Pixar has perfected pretty much in their family films. And the overall moral of the story, and a lot of the ideas actually in this movie also, were very, very creative and very imaginative and very thought-provoking. Actually, you never would have thought that this movie would make you think a lot, you know, and it's definitely a don't judge a book by its cover kind of a movie. You know, you look at it and you don't really think at first that this is gonna like make you think a lot, and that it's gonna make you like really think about what other people are feeling, and you know, what certain emotions you're feeling and where all of them are coming from. It really does have an appeal to both kids and adults in that sense, and that's what a real family animated movie should do. Inside Out, a well-done animated movie, gets a well-deserved A+. So that's it for Summer Nights at the Movies Triple Feature, and thank you very much for watching this video, and thank you for subscribing to my channel, guys. This has certainly been a pretty good year for summer movies, and I certainly hope that you guys have gotten a chance to see a lot of them. So until next time, guys, I'm Professor Moriarty. Class is dismissed.